So I'm just putting the final touches to the little big man, Mickey Duff. Now, a lot of people, when you talk boxing, particularly in London, you think of the East End. The East End is a place where it's a place of poverty, really, and poverty breeds tough people. Hence the reason why there's been so many stars, really, from the East End. So many elite level fighters. But what I'm surprised with is so one place in London which has such a unique kind of strong heritage for boxing um, is Soho. Now Soho, certainly, before I did this book, uh, it's a place of you know it's the gay part of London, isn't it? Soho, Old Compton Street and the Admiral Duncan and all that kind of thing. And then, of course, it's the music place as well. A lot of people will, you know, do tours, Jimi Hendrix and all that kind of thing. But so the gentleman that you see on this thumbnail, of course, one's Mickey Duff, aka Monty Prager, and Harry Levine, who had an office on Wardour Street, which of course Mickey Duff did as well. And the other gentleman is Jack Solomons, who so they were basically um, Jewish EastEnders, but their headquarters were all in, I was going to say the West End, but they were actually in Soho. Now, uh, they were very cockney, and people were going, what are you on about? Mickey Duff was from Poland and all this. But Mickey Duff grew up in Spitalfields, Hanbury Street, which is, of course, where Jack the Ripper killed his second victim, Annie Chapman. But yeah, he was very, very cockney, and so Harry Levine was actually from Stepney, which is, of course, it's some between that and Mile End for maybe the actual heart, the centre of the East End. And Jack Solomons he's from Petticoat Lane. So you've got these three Jewish immigrants, kind of EastEnders, if you like. Or maybe not all of them were immigrants, but they were certainly Jewish descent, and yeah, Soho has such a massive history in the boxing, and who can forget Freddie Mills had his night spot there, and then he was, some would say, murdered. Some would say he was Jack the Stripper. Some would say the Cray twins had him murdered. But he was a world champion, and so he had a nightclub there, and of course he met whether you want to believe whether he killed himself or whether he was murdered, he actually killed himself in Soho. Um, so it's, as I said, it's a place that, when in my head before I did this book, it was, everyone talks about, and not only the kind of the gay capital or the music capital, there's the sex industry as well. Not so much now, but certainly, maybe as far back as 100 years ago. I remember kind of basic training there for the army, and I would always go drinking in Soho. And there was a very famous club called Girls, Girls, Girls. Not that I ever went in, but you've seen the lights flashing and all these kind of massage places are all in Soho. But yeah, it's got such a huge uh, pugilistic heritage, if you like. And I said I didn't know. And a lot of the fighters, for instance, there's a place in Soho called Bar Talia. Obviously, there's the Little Italy around that place. But there's a place, actually, Mickey Duff used to go in there, Bar Talia. But if you go in there, obviously, it's all very Italian. They've got Rocky Marciano's original gloves on the back. Of course, the Italian descents, very, very passionate about the boxing. But Soho in general, it kind of gets talking about for many, many things, but doesn't really get linked with boxing. And I certainly didn't. I didn't fully relate to just how much. So as I said, them three gentlemen in the picture, considering they were Whitechapel, Stepney, Petticoat Lane, as Cockney as it come, that's like Chas and Dave, Pie and Mash, West Ham, Jelly Deals. That's as East End as they come, but they all ended up with the headquarters over the West End. So I'm going to be going there in a couple of weeks. I've got to see various people actually, mainly for the Mickey Duff book, last few bits. This book's gonna it's gonna go over 100. It's gonna be the biggest book I've ever done, as in volume, and I've gone for quality rather than quantity. I've kind of got the A to Z of um, British fighters, but I've got a handful of people, particularly around Soho, that I'm actually gonna meet, and so I will do a few interviews for this channel, and yeah, the Soho, very very interesting place. It's a place of money, isn't it? Really, it's a place of a glamour, and you spend a fortune, and all the kind of London tourism is probably at its height. It's there's the West End, the South, the East, the North. You've got the city, which is inside, but the West End, particularly kind of your Soho and all that. That's where the glamour is, if you like, and the clubs and all this. And I dread to think how much it is for a pound for a pint. Um, but yeah, it's as I said, got a massive, massive boxing kind of contingent, if you like, and lots of videos will be coming on this channel in a couple of weeks, and my other channel, the Sanest Days Are Mad, and yeah, let us know your thoughts. Boxing, Soho, a few other things as well, but I'm going to keep them for the book. But Jack Solomons, Harry Levine, Mickey Duff. Yeah, even so much as, for instance, the big boxing at the weekend. Now, Teddy Atlas, who's one of the world's, maybe arguably one of the the number one coach in the world, he's certainly up there. You can count him on hand. He was pictured around Soho, so kind of tour sightseeing and all that. But yeah, there's a lot of boxing tales around the West End.